Hi there. So in this lecture, we are going to start implementing the sign up functionality for our application. So the functionality would be very similar to what we had in the login functionality, uh, although with a slight change that we will create a user and also save it in the database. So uh, let's start with this. So before we actually start with the sign up activity changes, um, let's create a model for our user that we will use in the database. So let's first open the sign up activity. Um, let's close all the others, and because we will need much of the functionality similar to login activity, let's open that also. So we have login activity also open, and so within our activities where the package chat app clone, let's create one more package. So right click, new package. Let's call this model for our database model, and within this model we create a class called user. Okay, and so this will be simply a Pojo kind of class, just to uh, hold and transfer data to and fro between our database. So we'll need, add some variables within this: string email, then we'll need name, then need phone, image URL for the profile image, status, then status URL for a different status image, and then status time for identifying when the status was last updated. All right, let's create the accessor methods. So command N and generate getter and setter. Select all of these and press OK, like this. And we also want constructor to be created, parameterized constructor. So select all the elements and create the constructor. Okay, and let's have a default constructor also. Like this. Alright, so this is done. Now within our chat app clone package, let's create one more package. Let's call it util. And within the util package, we create a class called constants. So in this constants, we are going to declare some constant strings: static final string data underscore users equals users, then string data user underscore email, this will be email. Similarly, one for name, then one for phone, then another for let's call it image underscore URL, and one more for status. Next one is for data status, the URL that we have, and finally the constant for time, like this. So we have our user class and corresponding constants, and this will serve as our sort of table name or the collection name for our database. For now we can yeah, let it be. Let's come back to our sign up activity now. And so since we need much of the functionality from login, let's copy it over. So we can copy all this Firebase auth and all these variables also, right? Here instead of login activity, we want main activity or the sign up activity to be started. So this is the case when so we want main activity to be started with the context of current activity, which is the sign up activity actually, right? This is done, and for auth listener we had couple of overridden methods on start and on stop, so let's copy them also, paste them at the bottom. Right, then one more method that we need is this one, because we'll need to set up all the text listeners. Let's put it here. Okay, right, we have it now within our on create, or like before that let's create the couple of variables which we need for name and phone also. So text layout for name and for phone, so name til and phone til. Similarly the edit text fields also, name et and phone et. Progress layout is okay, and within our on create also we want this to be copied. All this, right? So let's just check we haven't accidentally copied anything for login activity, so this seems fine. Okay, within these let's do it for the name til and other fields also. Because find view by id or dot d dot name til, then one for phone and phone til here. This is done, and similarly here also for name et and phone et we want yeah, name et and phone et here. Progress layout is fine. Let's add the text change listener also for both name et and name til, as well as phone et and phone til, right? So yeah, this is done on text listener. Okay, now coming to the actual on sign up thing. Now in this, the starting part would be similar to what we had in the login activity. So let's just Let me just copy this from login activity. We have proceed to all this to be copied, and we can have this proceed as closed. And these if blocks we'll need for name and phone also, so I'm going to copy them a couple of times. So here we will have name et, here we'll have name til and name til. Right, name is mandatory, and here we will have phone et, then phone til, and phone til here, and phone is mandatory, set enable true. Right. Now let's see what do we have here. The Firebase auth also is pretty similar to what we need, although we'll change some of this. So instead of sign in, what we need is dot create user with email and password. So instead of this we need this, and same two arguments, email and password. Now add on complete listener, we have if the task has failed, we have progress layout is gone, then localized message would be displayed in the toast thing. But now we have an else part also, and on failure listener is same as before, but in the else part what we need is to now create a user within our DB. So in order to do that, we need access to a Firebase DB handle. So for that, let's add a variable here, private Firebase Firestore, call it Firebase DB equals Firebase Firestore dot get instance. Okay. Right. Now coming back to our else part, let's call it else if, where Firebase auth, since it seems to have completed, so we can get user ID, and let's see if it is not null, then we need to create the user and save it in our DB. So let's get these all these 4 values that we have on the screen, not 4 but 3 values. String name equals name et dot get text dot toString. Similarly for phone and email, so phone et get text toString and email et dot get text dot toString. Now we create a user, we need to import it. The chat app clone model, don't import the Firebase Firestore dot auth, import the one that we had created earlier. So this user equals new user, and the arguments are, first is email, name, then we have phone, then image URL we can give as empty, status we can give some sort of constant status, right there. I'm using chat app clone, then status URL empty, and time also is empty. Alright, this is created. Now we need to save it in our database. Yeah, Now to save it in our database, let's call Firebase DB dot collection, on which collection we want to save it. So constants dot data users dot document, and we want our user, or sorry, and like which document we want to save it. So for that, Firebase auth dot get UID, and within this we set the user data that we have just created. Right, now since we have another call here, let's set the progress layout visibility here also, view dot gone. All right. Yeah, and that should be it. So this is what we need uh, for our sign up activity, or the sign up functionality. This should do it. Let's try to run it and see. Okay, so now that our application has built and successfully started, let's try to test our changes. Let's go to the sign up activity. Right, let's try to click on empty fields, so we get the error messages. Let's try to fill in the values and test them. Provide any phone number. Let's give it test1 at test.com, and password, let's keep it same as earlier, 123456, and let's click on sign up. Okay, so looks like we were able to create our user and come to the main screen. Let's see if we got the changes in our database on the Firebase side. So this is the console that we had earlier for our authentication, and we had one user here. Let me reload it. Right, so we have the new user created here. Let's check the database. Okay, so we have our users collection also created, and the values that we had entered for our new user, they are also captured and present here. So let's go back to the application. Uh, let's try to log out and log in again with our new user, test1 at test.com 123456, and log in. Right, so we are able to log in with our new user also. So that is it for this lecture, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.